Whew, it's been a hell of a day for me. SpeedQB back with another video for y'all. Obviously y'all caught by the title, that may be why y'all are here. I'm gonna show y'all a little rundown of Premiere Pro. Keep it real simple, real basic. I actually started a little series on this of showing y'all little tricks as we go, and I'll have this in a series of that you'll be able to find in the playlist later on. But before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for the support y'all have given me. I do just obviously the short little videos, just mostly get people pumped up in any way I can, motivated, go play some airsoft. I'm not looking for YouTube to be huge, because that's not in my foresight at all. But instead, I like editing videos, love playing airsoft. It is my go-to thing. It is my relaxation, even though I'm not relaxing. But seriously, thank all of y'all. I got mad love for all of y'all for the support y'all been giving me, for the likes, not only on this platform with YouTube, on Instagram. A few of y'all come over there and see me on TikTok, which is a pretty new, recent one. And Facebook. Y'all can find me all over the place. Just sharing out my videos, sharing out, you know, my gameplay. Again, for the greatest sport in the world. But without any further ado, let's get into Premiere Pro. Alright, so here we are about to hold on. A lot better. I had to come out of that beanie. Cool outside, but it's nice and toasty in my house. Alright, so this is what we're gonna do. Open up Premiere Pro. You can get this from Adobe. Premiere Pro is the proper name, but you can find it in Adobe. They also have After Effects, Photoshop, Lightroom, yada yada yada. They got all kinds of stuff. This is basically what we got. It's going to look like at first. We're going to go in here and we're going to go create a new project. We're going to title this project whatever you'd like it to be. So whatever footage you have. I already have mine on my computer, so we're going to go from there. So what we're going to call this one is showing you how to. Hit enter. We're gonna go into this one. Alright, so this is gonna be the layout of Premiere Pro. This is actually on the graphics tab. Notice the top does seem overwhelming. There's a lot going on. It can get very complicated, but genuinely it's actually fairly easy. But at the top you'll see all these different tabs that you'll have, from learning, assembly, editing, color, effects, audio, graphics, libraries, yada yada yada. But we're going to keep this real short, sweet, and to the point. How to do this. And this is what I choose on Premiere Pro. There's also Final Cut Pro. There are videos that you can find on, video editing editors that you can find also on your phone that are pretty good. I might pull up a couple of them later on. And actually, I might make a video about that, because computers, I understand, are sometimes harder to have. Let me actually turn up my speed real quick on mine, so if you hear my fan in the background, I apologize. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to open a new project. And once we're in here, we're going to import. We're going to go to this File tab. We're going to import. And when we find our import, I have files saved in airsoft. And I use a 16 gigabyte and a 64 gigabyte card, and I will use some recent video footage that I have actually from the day after Christmas. So I'm just going to take, I'm just going to grab two files. That's all I need at the moment. We're going to open these files and pull them in. Alright, so this is going to be your little window that you have for all your media. And a shout out real quick to Epidemic Sound. No, they certainly do not sponsor me, but I use Epidemic Sound. for a small fee a month, you can use their music and not have to worry about copyright issues or anything like that. If you want to put it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and not have to worry about your videos getting muted or pulled down. So I'm going to actually import something I've used before, downloads. What we want to use? We're going to use this ballpoint. I'm going to open it up so it'll pull it in as well. So we're going to take all three of these files, we're going to highlight them, click and hold. We're going to drag it over here to our little timeline. And this is going to be our whole situation where we're going to stick with to edit everything. Alright, so first I'm going to do is I'm actually move this down. This will be my sound, so this is my song. This is my music from the, or not music, but this is the sounds and gameplay from the videos themselves. Let's go ahead and pull these back over. So what we're going to do is obviously just kind of review through it. Now what you can do is little keys that make your life so much faster on this. Let me actually get off the graphics. And I'll go over to editing file. You can make these windows bigger or smaller if you please. Whatever kind of fits for better. I like to have a little bit more room here to work with. Alright, so what we're basically going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mute my music, and you have these little options to lock it if you don't want it to go anywhere. It's muted if you want to turn it off for a second, either or. But we're going to go ahead and review this. So I'm going to actually separate this is the way I like to do, and just find some shots or some footage that I want to particularly use for that time. And what, you know, this would have to be us walking out. That's okay, I can still use it. So I'm going to use the beginning of this. I'm not going to use long of it. I'm going to use, I don't know, see my clock count. I'm going to use about 15 seconds of it. Alright, so this is where I was talking about where your key is going to come in. The keys on the keyboard can be a great help. If you don't want to use the keys, you have these selectors over here. You have your selection tool, you have your ripple edit tool, your razor, your text, pen that you're going to have. I use the pen, the razor, and the select tool more than anything else. Those three I use. I don't really touch the text. I usually deal with effect or graphics for text. But if we go through here, so, and one more thing is if you click onto this area, hold Alt on your keyboard and scroll in on the wheel on your mouse, you notice it gets bigger. If you scroll down, it gets smaller. And you can use it. If you let go of Alt, you can move over either or direction. But if we want, this is where I want to use. I don't want to use anything else after this point, right? So what I'm going to do is actually hit C. Now remember what I said about that razor tool? You can see right here. If I hit V, it went to select tool. C, V, C. Alright, so C gives me this razor, and it means I'm going to cut. So I can cut where I want. So I've got this traced right down here. I usually follow from the play line, and I'm just going to click it right there. And then I'm going to hit V. It goes back to my select tool. I'm going to click this section because I don't want this anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. And I'm going to remove that. Then I'm going to take, excuse me, then I'm going to take this footage right here. I'm not going to touch it over here yet, but then I'm going to start to review through this footage. What do I have here? Looks like we're about to start. Running out here. Probably about to get shot. End up back in spawn. Clear the area a little bit. Yeah, look at that. See, I happen to get 2 videos on our way out, but that's okay. The point's still going to be there. So I'm going to just leave that where it's at, and until we about walk out. Still aimed up. Charge out here a little bit. Take a few shots. And yeah, we'll play about right there. Again, I'm going to hit the C on my keyboard. C. Go to this area, is where I want to cut it. Hit C. Back to V. Click this. Make sure you don't have this and hit delete, or you're going to delete what you have. Make sure you got to pay attention sometimes. So this is the section I do not want right here that is in white. Delete. So now that I have that, I'm actually just going to pull it over, and then I'm actually going to chop this song. Hit C again. chop the song where I want, V, delete this, click, hold, pull this over. What you can also do is if you want to loop music or anything, you can actually click this, hold Alt, and pull it over, and it'll copy it again right next to it. But don't worry about that right now. Me being having a GoPro, I run a GoPro 7 Black. So what you do get is a fisheye kind of look. I mean, sometimes it's hard to even see, but generally you see that fisheye look. So one way to get rid of that real quick, like, is you can come over here to your Windows where your media is at, hit Effects, and search up Distort. Once you have Distort in, you scroll down to GoPro. I have a GoPro and I recorded mine in wide, 1080 wide. I did not record in 4K. Click onto 1080 wide. Oh, excuse me, let's back up a second. Well, you can actually do it like this if you want. We can go ahead and put it on this footage. Click it there, click it there. But I can also show you a quicker way to kind of do it and put everything into one kind of file. Go back to your library. I'm sorry, your media, history. If you're going to get, there you go. Okay. Click onto any file that you want. Doesn't really matter except your music. Don't get on your music. Just click onto the file. Go up to File, New, Adjustment Layer. Okay, and this is recorded in 30 frames a second is what this is in. So I'm going to drop this down. Okay, and then once I have my adjustment layer here, I'm going to click it, hold it, drag it over here on top of this. Then I can pull it out to the end of my footage. And the reason we want to do this is anything that we add to, say I wanted to go back to the edit, say I want to go back to Effects, Distort, Wide, I can use that and just pull it right on top of this adjustment layer, drop it. Now I have it onto there. And anything you do to this adjustment layer, you don't have to keep continuously doing. If you have several little videos in here, you ain't got to do all the same edits, everything back to back, repeating yourself. You can just add it all to this adjustment layer. Makes things so much simpler. But once you have your adjustment layer, let's go ahead and play this. Kind of a dull scene, but the video footage is not too important at the moment. Got him. So you see this. Later I'll show you how to put transitions in between her. I'm not a big fan of them because they make my computer actually takes forever to export at that point. But you will see that we have music here playing in over the sound. You can adjust the sounds of this as well. If you have this too loud, you think it's too loud, you can go to audio gain, and then you can just start dropping the sound. Just start putting it in the negative, and it'll start dropping the sound volume. Or you can just pull your bar down. You see how I did that? Grab that bar beside it and just pull it down. Then you can take this bar and pull it down. It's lowering your decimal level of the music, so you can do it that way too. So I'm going to go ahead and chop this. I'm not going to need any of that. And this is where I was talking about the pen tool. You can use a pen tool, and if you want to, you can scroll in. Remember, click onto here, Alt, scroll in or up on your wheel, and you'll see now that I actually got extra music. So I'm going to cut a little bit more off, and I'm going to pull down just a little bit more. Okay, and for that pen tool, naturally all you got to hit is P. Hit P on your keyboard. So I tend to want to make music just fade out, and I usually start right before it ends, the video ends. Click this line, that one that we pulled up and down. Click it again on the end, and then click, hold, and just pull it down. What that's going to do is cause the music to fade out. And where's my play? There you are. That'll cause the music to fade out as it ends. See that? Real simple. So far we've covered 2 films: how to cut, how to select, how to use the pen tool, how to add music, how to add file, add adjustment layer. So let's do an effect. I use effects and graphics. For about every video y'all see, I have a key one. I have it under star. This is the one I choose to use the most, which is liquid. So over here, once you get in effects, or you can, later on you can find some and bring them into here. But if we just pull the star off, this is ones that usually come with Premiere Pro. Every time it updates, sometimes you get new ones, sometimes you lose some. But I have starred of my favorites. So I use this liquid abstract text. Click it, hold it, pull it over to where you want in your video. Alright, so now you see that this is all black. It's blocking my footage, right? So what you can actually do is just click onto it. Excuse me, go back to V. Click onto it and go over here. Now you'll see the edit tools here. So the controls, background. Now the black right here, what it's calling for is background, excuse me, opacity. I'm just go ahead and turn that opacity all the way down. So now when we actually play it, that black screen isn't there. Instead we have our music. Graphics is usually what tends to slow your computer down a little bit. So usually when it starts trying to be a little rougher on it, so you may have to just give it time to load. Every chance you get, I cannot express it enough. Go up here, hit File, Save. Let it save. You can never do that too much of going up here at Save, because if Premiere Pro decides to crash or leave out or stop responding or anything like that, which it's not horrible at it, but sometimes when you're running, especially when you start getting into 4K videos, it can be troublesome. So what we can do is, now that we have that, we can click onto it again, go ahead and scroll over till we see our word, and I'm going to double click it. You see it says liquid abstract, delete, and I'm going to add Steve, or some name, Steve QB. Hit enter. Now we have that. You can slow this down if you want. You can make this longer, or slow it down if you choose to, by dragging this out, and it'll actually last longer and move slower when you do that. Yeah, it's moving really slow. My computer is being a little glitchy, but it'll move slower. But I don't tend to like it that long. I like it to get to the point, and not be too much of a distraction. So you have text controls, things you can change the your font on it, what you want it to say, whether you want it to be bold, colors, whatever you want to do with it. So we have a graphic, we have an adjustment layer, we have our two videos, we have this. So, but before we're ready to just let's get this out of here, let's hurry up and get it to YouTube, let's get to Facebook or wherever we're going to put it, what we have to do is, at the very beginning of it, you can jump to the end, but I have a tendency to want to do this. Go to the very beginning of it, make sure all your footage and everything is at the starting point at 00, and you're going to hit I. That means for end. That's where your video starts. Come all the way down to the end of it, the very bit of it, and then I want you to hit O on your keyboard. That's in and out point. That's what, so everything within this kind of grayed area right here and everything that's in this video is what you're going to be exporting. You can export in different settings. I'll deal with that later. But this is what's going to go. If you got out, say right here, this part right here on the end will not export. So if you get it in your computer after 10 minutes of exporting and you're like, oh my gosh, my video is not finished, well, that could have been the reason why. So when you hit over to that, make sure you hit out at the proper spot that you're wishing to do from. To export it, to get it out and get it down to our computer, or get it to our computer to be able to place it to any place, anywhere we want, we're going to go ahead and go over to File, scroll down, Export, Media. And I'll deal with these settings later, your format and stuff like that. We'll talk about that later. It can get a little technical. But you just want to make sure your video, your audio, everything's good. You're here. And then we're going to go ahead and export. And I can cancel that at a second, but this is about what it looks like. So for this situation, it says about 4 minutes, but mine doesn't actually take that long. It actually hurries up after a second. But I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that because I don't want to export this to my computer. But there's so many things within this that you can play with. Matter of fact, let me show you before we go out. Before we actually leave, y'all, it's about your day because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm trying to show you to the point. What we can do is go over to color, click onto that adjustment layer, scroll over, you'll see input LUT. A LUT is like a color grade. You can download some, there's free ones, but you can play with it however you want. If I want to take my exposure down, if I want to take my exposure up or anything. But I have LUTs saved. So let me go ahead and pull one in. LUTs for Premiere Pro, the best ones. I use these 3 more than anything else, so we're going to go ahead and use this. Pull it in, and it is on our adjustment layer. Let me double check to make sure it's open. Yes. So you'll see the difference if you're going to. My computer's just being laggy at the moment. It's trying. Import. Browse. Summer. Boom, there it is. Now you've seen the difference. So when it darkened, so it automatically color grades. Now sometimes each footage, depending on your exposure, your weather, things like that. If it's a cloudy day, I would not suggest using anything that's got blue tints to it because blueness kind of makes, that cold feel. So if I wanted to change it, I don't like this, I have another file. Boom, I got a totally different one. This actually is kind of cool. It makes it grayish. But it kind of switches it up though. But you have these, and you have a few that come with it that you can try out. See what you like. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go and download LUTs, or color grades if you'd like to call them. But they have some, or you can just use none. I record in flat on my GoPro itself, so I tend to like to color grade myself. But it's very simple. If y'all got any questions about anything, feel free to comment. You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to hit me up at, and we'll chit chat about it and help out any way I can. Remember, I said this is going to be kind of a serious thing, so I'm going to show y'all a little bit things as we go. I'm also going to, I love cameras, I love things like that, so here in a few months I got a few treats that I'll be showing. I'll be taking a lot more pictures of some guys playing, and then we'll hop into Lightroom and Photoshop and show y'all a few little tricks in there to do to get pictures just look amazing. But if this helps you out, man, if help me out, give me a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You ain't got to turn your notifications on or nothing. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to blow up on here, but I do like interacting with people, and the more we hit the like button and show support for each other, it helps out the algorithm on YouTube tremendously, and helps me reach out to especially other airsoft players, other individuals. You ain't even got to be an airsoft player. You can be whatever and be recording and want to mess around in Premiere Pro. But y'all hit me up. Y'all have a good one, and y'all keep slinging some plastic.